Hello, today I've got a slightly different format. I'm going to be filling the Zuri Leo mould, as it's the first day of Leo today, but I've already filled the verse plaque side. Now it's very nearly flush with the top of the mould, and I used 120 grams, so that was 40 liquid and 80 powder, and I am going to do it slightly different in the video. So this, as always, just pops out really easily. A few bits of overspill around the edges that will easily snap off, but yeah, all the detail beautifully captured with A1. All the words, if I can get it to not be blurry, are really clear. You can read it all. I will do another video at some point showing you how you can just cast the frame without the words, but obviously you can put things over it. So I mean, here's the slightly dirty, drop some stuff on it, Leo, that you could always put over the top if you wanted to cover the words, if you didn't want the words, and have it as a bit of a frame. Yeah, it's probably a bit big for that frame. I've not got anything smaller. You know what it looks like with something, framed. So yeah, and you can put something else on it if you wanted to cover the words and have it as a background. So don't think of it as just as a frame for the words, a plaque for the words, but if you do, then yeah. Okay, so that was done with 120. I shall do this one slightly different. Okay, so where do I start? Leo or plaque? Leo or plaque? I'm using gold, which is another one that is 1 part liquid and 2 parts powder. Shake it up, make sure it's all mixed nicely, and we're going for 90. So a nice precision nozzle to squeeze it in. Long squirts for lots and short ones for about a gram. But as I've said before, don't just guess it on 1 squirt is a gram, because depending on your squeezy action, it can be more. Just get some cheap scales, 1 gram increments, and get your mix as accurate as possible. Okay, so I didn't actually want to do this first, because the gold, 31, oh well, slightly over. This is going to be too much. The gold comes with a little pot to dust your mould first. That when it is cured, you then polish it, and it comes out really shiny and looks like gold. If you're into your star signs and know anything, the reason I'm doing it in gold is because gold is the metal for Leo. It also is the colour for Leo. Well, in some writings. But yeah, gold has a lot of connections to Leo, so that's why I'm doing that. Right, it was 31, wasn't it? So I need to do 93. Oh, 93. Okay, so what I will do is I will mix this first, and then I'll dust the mould. I would advise that you dust the mould first. I wouldn't advise doing it like me. Dust the mould first, and then this isn't curing on one side while you're dusting it. because although you have, I'm going to say between 5 and 15 minutes, because depending on the heat, humidity, where you're doing it, it can start to cure quite quick if it's really warm. Cooler temperatures, you'll have that little bit longer to play about with it. And if you've seen me, I can be a bit of a pain sometimes for playing about with it, brushing it in, getting it into all the details, because especially with something like this, if I'm wanting all the text, I mean, it can look like a nice damaged plaque and not getting all the text, so then you can read it. Legible, that's the word I was looking for. And, you know, shabby chic is a thing and people like it. But it just seems a shame as well that when you've got all this detail and you've got a product like Acrylic One, A1 Creatives, that will pick up all your detail really crisply and nice, to not take advantage of it and make sure that you're getting all that, what the product's good at, getting all the intricate detail. Okay, so all the powder's mixed in. Don't think it's got any lumps in it, looking nice and smooth. I think, where can I put that down? There, that'll do. No, I'm dusting it first. Oh, very nearly didn't then. Just any paintbrush. Don't have your head over the pot when you open it, because you're likely to get dust in your face, and you don't want gold dust in your face. Although some people eat gold, don't they? It's meant to be good for them, but I wouldn't advise eating gold. It may have some healing properties and stuff, but don't do it unless you know what you're doing. So yeah, I don't know if you can see this all puffing up in the air. It's I'm making a mess. I'm trying to be as quick as I can though, because I know that that's curing at the side, which is why I'd advise doing it first, because then you can be a bit more careful, you can be more precise. I didn't clean my mould, so I've now just dropped a piece of cured A1 in it. Yeah, with the dust, don't let it mound up, because that will lose detail. Make sure it's spread nice and even. It's nice to have a nice thick coating of it, and that'll help it be even shinier, but I would advise that you do it in stages, so you make sure it's all evenly spread out, and then potentially put another coating on, as opposed to, I don't know if you can see this at all, that it is quite, it's shiny and smooth in some places, and then I can see that it's there's little mounds in other places, and I don't really want those little mounds, because they will interfere with the design, which you can always tap it out, tip it upside down and tap it actually onto the table, but I'm trying not to waste any. I don't like waste, and so I'm trying to move it across to the other side as well as I'm going to dust the other side. Meantime, it's all curing next to me. I will be doing another video, I don't know if I'll do it today or in the next few days, using the dust. Not this one, I think I'm going to do the iron in a Stamperia mould, which is plastic, and show you how you can still use the dust in the plastic moulds, but with these silicone ones it's great. You can get it all the way, yeah, get off, all the way up the sides, and it sticks really nicely to it, so you can be a little bit more precise, whereas in the plastic moulds, much as you can still use this, it just doesn't stick as well. It'll be fine on your cast, but it just sort of lies on the plastic. It doesn't, I guess stick is the word. I don't, it's hard to get it up the sides of the plastic, whereas this I can make sure I've got all round the edges done, which, to be honest, I'm not really needing to do with this because I'm not doing a full fill. I'm going to show you how you don't have to do it as thick, which is why I did the previous pour, because I wanted to show you that was pretty flush to the top and using 120, and I've not decided how much to actually do for this, whether I'm going to go for 90 or whether I'm going to try it at less than 90. No, those letters are all filled up. That's definitely no good. I'm going to lose all those words there. I'm going to have to tip that out. Okay, so yeah, like I say, you want a really nice coating, but you want it smooth, not piled up, which I'm really not thinking you're going to be able to see that in this, from this angle. And I'm not sure I can get it to the right angle to show you either. So, now that I've got my A1 nicely curing on the side, which I didn't want to do, and I've covered the mould as much as it's going to have to be for now. And then I will get, have I got a piece of paper to hand? No, I've normally got a piece of paper to hand. Oh well, I'll just have to put it on the desk and try and dust it up later. Because obviously, as you can see from the bottom of this mould, it's not like I make my desk nice and clean anyway. Oh, look at that, what a mess. That's a lot of dust wasted. How annoying. Oh, I've got a nice shiny gold desk now. No, well, never mind. Look at me cleaning up. Rare, very rare you'll see me getting a brush out and cleaning up. But I have got one, it is there, I do use it. Right, anyway, babbling, as usual. Babbling. So, I'm going to give that another quick stir just to make it a bit more fluid, because if it has started to set in the cup, you can give it another stir and sort of bring it back a little bit more fluidy if you need to. Only to a certain point. If I'd have left it much longer and started stirring it, it wouldn't have worked. But yeah, it is possible. So, pour it in, and as I have got this quite thick, this dust, I think I might be alright with the brush. I'm going to be careful with the brush because I don't want to lose any detail. And when I say brush, I mean this like really hard, messed up. I've used it a bit too much. I'm ready to treat myself to use a new brush very soon. But it still works, it does the trick. It's hard to get into the little bits and it spreads it around the side a bit more, but it doesn't matter. You've got to get your money's worth out of everything, haven't you? And I'm definitely getting my money's worth out of this really cheap brush that was like £1 for about 10 or something. That if you haven't seen another video, don't wash it in the sink, wash it in a bowl of water, let the sediment set in the bottom, and then you can drain your water away and use the set A1 in the bottom for another project, or bin it safely if you so choose. But it will clog up your pipes if you were to just wash your utensils in the water. But like you've seen with me, I rarely wash things properly. My moulds, they get occasionally sort of scraped off and dusted down and the bits put into a pot. Actually, I'll start to put a little bit of a coating on there and dust it off. See, can you see there? I don't know if you can see, I've just wiped away the gold coating by doing it like that, which is why I generally don't use a brush when I'm using any of the powders, because it will start to wipe away the powder coat, and you don't want that because you're wanting the nice finish. So I'm just rinsing my brush off in some water off camera, which was very rude of me, but yeah, just giving it a little rinse and put it on a towel. So tap the mould, try not to let bits fall in it. Another reason to sort of clean your mould a bit better. Release any air bubbles, which I'm not sure if you can see. There's some very, very tiny air bubbles, very tiny. And just by tapping it, it brings them to the surface. And when I say surface, I mean the surface you can see at the minute, which then prevents them being on the actual surface of the cast that will then interfere with the design. Which is not an issue, because it's not like the great big craters or anything that are formed, so it doesn't really mess with it too much. It's subtle. But depending on how much of a perfectionist or how perfect you are wanting that piece to be, it is nice to not have any of these defects, marks, whatever you want to call them. Oh, that's quite a big bubble that's just appeared there. Don't know if you can see that at all. But yeah, when using the powders, it can sort of make bubbles appear more as well. Oh, a little drop of green got in there as well. Oh well. I don't think it'll be on the front, I think it'll just be on the back, so you won't see it. So, like I say, I mixed 90 for this, which I know is just slightly too much. It's sort of perfect in a way, because it fills it 100%, but it does make it stick up in certain places. Well, not stick up, it's just, it's slightly proud of the mould at 90, but I would potentially advise you doing 90, so that then you especially if you're not confident using A1, it'll help these they're not really delicate bits on this mould, but these little curly bits, they may have the potential of snapping off if you don't fill it, if you're a little bit low on them. So I would advise, especially new people, to do this one with 90, to make sure the twirly curly bits are full. Another good thing I like about A1, when it blobs like that, and they make great eyes or detail. Perfect circle. Well, it can be a perfect circle. Right, so I'm going to give that a quick bang. Leave that at that a minute. Yes, some nice green swirls appearing in that. from me not cleaning my cup properly. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. And then this last little bit that I've got in my cup, which is not very much at all, I'm just going to try and get that out and into here to be starting it off a bit. Now, as I say, I may lose a little bit of the letters on this because I'm rushing. I didn't make sure the powder was on it correctly, as I'd already started to mix the liquid, and so yeah, and I don't really want to use the brush because I don't want to, although I suppose I could across the letters, couldn't I, because as it's bunched up with powder anyway, it should still leave enough in it to be able to polish and make it shiny. And of course, have I already said it, if you don't like it, paint it or use some waxes over it to help with the shine. But one of the good things about this gold is you don't need to use waxes. Obviously you can, but you don't need to, because if you just polish it when it's cured, it will look really pretty and shiny. So that is that. Let's get the brush on it to give it a little bit of a help into those. It's still wet. Into the letters. Just get it into the Leo bit as well. And then I'm going to mix. I'll mix 90 and see how it goes. But I'm trying to do this a bit thinner and show you the difference between doing it flush and not. But I will use a support. So I'm going to use some of the fibre that I can't pronounce, that you can get from acrylic one, A1. I'm sure you can get them from other places too, and you can always use your own fibre material, whatever, any sort of material that's got a little bit of strength and threads through it will do the same thing. Because A1 will bond with material, so careful you don't get it on your clothes. It's perfectly safe. I'm just rinsing my brush in a mucky water bottle, a little bit of water, get a little bit of a swizzle around, and then I put it on a towel. Okay. So we have a desk that is getting a bit full and powder all over the place. Right, so we'll put that in there, we'll put that down there a minute, we're going to put it there. Shake the liquid again and put 30 in. I would go for less than 90, but I don't want to pour not enough and then have to start mix more. And last time I did this I didn't actually pay attention to how much I was using. I think I did it with some that I had left over anyway from a previous cast, and I just got one of the Zodiac moulds at the side of me, and so I was like, okay, I'll start filling it. And then instead of filling it to the top, when I came to it next, I laid some material across it. You can do it in stages, you can let it cure and do it in stages. You've just got to be careful that you don't move your mould in between, or if you do it carefully, because you don't want to crack it, because if you crack it you've then got a broken cast, which, as I've said before, you can potentially mend in certain ways. You can use it broken, it's a nice effect. And like all pottery and glass and stuff, if you break it and you try and glue it back together, as long as it's a clean break and you've got all the pieces, sorry, distracted by a robin then, you can mend it so that then you can't even see the break. Oh, my scales are just not moving now. Yeah, I thought it must have been about 90. Cheeky. Well, it's warmer in here today than I thought it was. I can see that that's curing already. Wow. I didn't think it was as warm today, but it is. So, yeah. Mix it up, all the powder in, nice and smooth. And I suppose I should have done this. I mean, one of my other videos you will see with the recent pandemic, most people have got disposable masks, and if you are environmentally conscious at all, you will know that most of them don't break down so easily, and not too good for the environment. And that, obviously, you can wash them, well, some you can wash multiple times and reuse, but when they have given up, you don't want to use them anymore. You can use them in your mould, use them as support. They have various bits in them. They've got little bits of metal in them, you know, that like squeeze around the bridge of your nose and such. You can take that metal out and use that for supporting your casts, and you can use the whole doobie-doo, the whole mask itself. Then you've got the little stringy bit things that go around your ears. It all can be reused. You don't need to put it for landfill. But I will not lecture you on green issues and environment and such. But yeah, be conscious, recycle, reuse, and if you're a crafter, no need to bin anything. Turn it into art and enjoy it, or give to others to enjoy. And it doesn't have to be modern art, mask on canvas or something. You can actually disguise it and use it as something else. Like I say, you wouldn't even know that I've used a mask in some of my pieces to support them, because they're just covered with A1, they're hidden, and all they're doing is giving it a bit of strength. So I've put about half in, maybe not, about half-ish, which I probably should have done this first, because now I'm going to do what I tell you not to do. Don't move your cast when it's started to cure, because that Leo has started to cure. So this was really stupid of me. I really should have done this first. Wow. Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. So when I go to take this Leo out in a bit, you might find it come out in pieces, because I might have just like really messed it up. I am going to really carefully put that down and use a brush, which I didn't want to do, but I just want to get it into those edges. because I don't want to move it anymore. Now, it is possible, because the mould's quite a big mould, that you can, let me just rinse this brush. Tap this side. Sorry, distracted by squirrels now. I've got two of them sat eating peanuts in front of me. They're really cute. Yeah, try not to disturb that side, but obviously, you know, the vibrations and stuff can go through and cause cracks, so I don't really want to do this too much. So yeah, this plaque side might be more on the shabby chic. You can cast them both together, you just have to be careful, otherwise do them separately. It only takes like an hour-ish to cure, so you know, it's easy enough to get them easily done in a day and still make a project. So I'm using some fibre. Like I say, you can use most materials. Cut it roughly to size. There's going to be a little bit over the edges, which I'll either do push into the mould, or they can be cut off after. It don't matter. Choices. Get it in there, look. I am using my fingers. It's perfectly safe. It will not harm me at all. It'll just make my fingers mucky. Pull off my nail varnish when I try and clean it off as proved. Look, it's just some green from the other day. Some, yeah, various colours. I tried to do my nails in sort of A1 colours with the blue and the orange for the special anniversary week for me. As I don't know if I've said, some people will know, I have been a fan for a couple of years now. But the company has been around over 20 years, well established. Lots of stuff for you to look up. Acrylic One or A1 Creatives, and you will find lots of inspiration, videos, help, ideas, places to buy. But if you have any questions, I'm always happy to help. I was a customer after seeing them on TV and buying from them on TV, and then buying direct from their factory. And then I contacted my Dutch friend. She hadn't heard of them. She went to the factory to visit them and became an ambassador, and then invited me to be an ambassador as well. So I am now, and I promote them not just because I'm an ambassador, but because I truly love the product. It's great. There's all sorts of things you can do with it, which I will hopefully show you in my different videos. Now I could leave it like that. I think that that would actually be strong enough to take out, but because of in these corner bits I haven't actually got the fibres all through, I'm going to pour a bit more on it. But I'm thinking that you could potentially get away with casting this with more like 60 as opposed to 90. You just make sure that you've got the material embedded in it. And that'll give it the strength that it needs. So yeah, when it is thinner we advise to leave it a little bit longer to set, cure, however you want to call it. But also when it's got this fibre in it, like I say, it does make it tougher. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll see if any of those bits break off. It'll be a nice little, you can see, although that looks like it's flush to the top, that is just the material. You need to make sure that the material is embedded into it. You don't want the material going all the way through. But because I did put a nice coat on in the first place, that should have got into all the detail. So yeah, you can use a brush to brush it on, as opposed to a spatula-y thingy, whatever you call it. It's not a spatula, is it? Palette knife. I don't know if that's the right word either. Don't know. Anyway, I have got my embossing folder to hand that I am gonna pour the rest of this onto, because as always, don't like waste, so always have another mould to hand, or an embossing folder, or a texture sheet, or anything made out of plastic or silicone. You can just have like a plastic bag sort of thing and pile it up like I'm doing here, and then you can break it up and use it for the, okay, I say this wrong every time, terrazzo technique. Terrazzo. Yeah. That I have done. I don't think I've done a video yet. I will do. But there are videos on the acrylic one, Facebook, and website and YouTube that show you how to do it. Now, I generally use it with the scrappy bits out of my cup, but it's much easier if you use bigger chunks. And because I'm very frugal and I scrape my cups very well, most of my bits are quite small. It's rare I have big chunks, but it does make it easier to do with big chunks. So yeah, pile it out. I don't know if you can see how that's lumped up onto a plastic bag, carrier bag, packaging bag, those see-through sleeves that you have on certain things, whatever. Don't spread it out like I'm doing, and then it'll be nice thick chunks to break up and use to put into another project, to either use as filler or to do that technique that I can't pronounce that makes a piece look like your kitchen work surface. But yeah, I'm trying to fill the embossing folder so that then I can take it out and have some nice texture. So that's why I'm spreading this out, because even at this, I'm not confident that that's going to be thick enough to pull out. And I was wanting to release this as a full sheet that then I can choose if I want to break it up, but I was potentially going to use this as a big background for something to then put something onto. So yeah, I could take it off now, like that green bit, that looks quite thick. Well, it doesn't look quite thick at all, it looks quite thin, but it will come off easy enough. I think it might break into pieces, but it will release at that point. Whereas here, where it's really super duper thin, I can scrape it off, but it won't come off to then be able to use. It's just going to break off in bits, and I'm babbling. So there we go. That's going to be left to cure some more. I am going to go and clean up a bit, and I will be back in an hour-ish to see if we can get these out in one piece. There you go, see you in a bit. Right, I'm back, just over an hour. Don't know if you can see how that's not quite flush to the top. It's actually lower than it looks because it's just sort of gone up the sides very slightly. Okay, so, yeah, I knew I'd broken that. That is what happens when you move your mould too soon. And because I moved it, I picked it up when I was putting that bit in, it's cracked it. I thought I had done, which is a little bit annoying, but it's still really pretty. I actually quite like where that crack has fallen. One of those what do you call them, lucky accidents or something. Yeah, it's a pretty clean break, so it would be very easy. I can't line it up at the minute because I can't see what I'm doing. It would be easy to glue that back on and you will not see that break at all. But I like it without that extra top piece on it. I think it looks really cool like that. Yeah, I'm keeping that without that top bit on. Oh, I've lost one of his swirly bits there. I might put that swirly bit back on. Where did that come from? About there. That came from about there, didn't it? Yeah, I might stick that swirly bit back on for the symmetry and all that. But yeah, I'm leaving that top off his head. I like it like that. Yeah. That funky crown thing on, or without? Yeah, without. Okay, so that is actually a good example of showing you don't move your mould. It didn't look like it had cracked, it looked fine. I thought I was being careful how I was moving it when I was tipping this side, but I obviously wasn't. Don't move your mould, just don't do it. As soon as you can see it started to cure, just leave it, walk away, go and do something for an hour. An hour's not long, just leave it. So this is the plaque thing. Might have lost a couple of the letters there from where I didn't dust it properly in the mould, but I've got it all going up the sides, so you're not going to see the difference in thickness, are you? Not really, because it goes up the sides, so it looks like it is that thick, but it's really not. And it just shows you that the gold one was pretty much, although I mixed 90, I didn't put 90 in, I probably put about 60 in, maybe 70, I don't think so though. And the other one's 120 grams. So there is a difference in depth, there's a difference in weight, but it shows you don't have to fill the mould to the top if you're using some sort of support system. So yeah, that is that. And now to grab a thingamabob, tea towel, cloth, duster, whatever. Give it a dust. Give it a dust. No, you're not giving it a dust, you're giving it a polish. No, you can't see the shine, can you? Maybe a little bit, not sure. Let's see if we can get it on that. Different directions to agitate it and that, like you do when you're polishing your gilding waxes. When you put your gilding waxes on, it's advisable to go in different directions to help that shine come through. Oh, I do actually like that without the top of that head. I might put a bit of a damming system in next time and just cast the bottom bit. Or I might put a dam at the top and bottom to hide the Leo symbol as well, and then just have it as a cat. Which obviously you can put something over that, but you can also dam it off so that then you don't need to fill that area. Okay, can you see the shine? I think it's just about picking it up, isn't it? So yeah, so it can really look goldeny, and that's what it looks like inside, where it hasn't got the shiny powder. That will not puff up to shine. Did that work? I think you saw that. So yeah, polish it up to give it a shine. And like I say, that is a clean break, so it could be added, but I'm really not going to do that. I'm going to use that for some decoration on another piece, because I still like it. It's a nice piece, don't get me wrong. I just like the lion without that on his head. So yeah, a few things out of that cast instead. Okay, so there you go. I hope that showed you how to do it and how not to do it, and an option of doing it thinner and thicker. I hope you enjoyed it. I shall see you soon. Goodbye.